Hey, what's up, everybody? You're listening to The Sound Check, and my name is Garrett. I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Beau.
Hi.
And Tyler over here to my right.
What's up, everybody?
And we're excited to start off our new show. It's going to be called Classic Kiss. And this is a show all about Kiss on The Sound Check. We plan on weekly episodes covering each album up until the present day, maybe concerts, and just different history about the band, because this band has pretty much formed a really strong bond in all of our friendships, I guess you could say. And it should be fun. So without further ado, this is Classic Kiss, episode 1. All right, what's up, guys?
What's up, buddy?
Up?
All right, this is pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right, so today we do have, we're going to be reviewing the first ever Kiss album, which is personally one of my favorites. But before we get into that, I kind of want an opinion from both of you guys, or not an opinion, but more of what got you guys into Kiss? And we'll start off with Beau, since you're the oldest. What got you into Kiss, Beau?
Would have been my stepfather at the time. Was a huge Kiss fan, and when I was about 9 years old, he showed me Unholy, one of my favorite albums.
Unholy,
so,
pretty solid.
Interesting song to start with.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in 93. It came out in what, 96, 97?
No,
Revenge
would
was
have been
92 or 93, I think.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, it would have been popular when you were growing up.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, that's so that's pretty much how you got into it. And then I'll go to you.
actually, it was you.
It was me?
Yeah, I don't know if you remember this, but there was one time we were hanging out. Yeah, I mean, we of course were super small. We were like 4 years old.
Yeah.
And you brought over this like page from a magazine you had ripped out, and it was them, and it was like promotion for I want to say it was Symphony, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
I remember it, and because it was the first time I'd ever seen them, I was like, what the hell? What are these dudes? And of course, I'm 4. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
And so, like, I mean, it all went uphill from there.
Well, that's interesting. I never knew that.
Yeah.
I thought I remembered you saying that it was something about me, like, kind of introducing them to you. Whether it was on purpose or not, I don't know. But for my side of the thing, it's funny because it's my cousin right over here, Beau, who, went first. He's the one who actually got me into Kiss, because I remember I don't know how old I was, but back when Ron and your mom and everybody used to have all those like weenie roasts and all that different stuff, all the bonfires. And we were inside your house at one of those, just hanging out, and I think Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park was on.
Oof.
And okay, we'll get to that
So
movie.
much
We're gonna have a whole movie,
yeah.
or not a whole movie, but a whole show dedicated to that phenomenal movie.
Yes.
90% on Rotten Tomatoes. No, I'm just kidding.
That'd be phenomenal.
But
If I had a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, that'd be insane.
but it was that movie that got me hooked, because as a kid you would think that movie is fucking awesome, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I still think it's awesome, but that's what got me hooked. And then obviously, you would be playing Kiss records, Ron would be playing them, and then obviously once you got into it, like, I'd say Tyler's the super fan out of all of us. We'll have to get some pictures of that Kiss room, because that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
that's been a long time of collecting.
Yes. Like, honestly, I remember there was a show on, what was it? I want to say there was somebody on like Ellen DeGeneres or something. They like showed off their Kiss collection. I was like, it ain't got shit on Tyler's. But, all right. Well, so yeah, that's pretty much a background of how we all got into Kiss. And I think we could probably go ahead and get started with this first album. If that's cool with you guys.
Yep, I'm all good.
Ready.
Alrighty. All right. So the Kiss first album. The reason why I say it like that is because it's named it's a self-titled album, Kiss. So it's a little bit, fucky when you say, oh, the Kiss album.
Right.
Are you talking about the actual album? Or are you talking about a certain Kiss album?
Right.
So anyways, just some general info on this band. They started in New York City back in the early 1970s. Correct me if I'm wrong if you guys hear anything, because I got all of this information, from good old Wikipedia. Even though I know most of it, I just, wanted to have a good, reliable source.
Yeah.
But basically, it's, they started in 1970 as, I think, Gene and Paul, so Gene Simmons, the bass player, and Paul Stanley, the lead singer and rhythm guitarist, got together, wrote some songs. I don't remember how they met, but do you know how
they were
met?
actually introduced by a guy that they were both in separate bands with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that dude was actually also in Wicked Lester.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So Wicked Lester, it was like kind of like, you can call it the first Kiss, because a lot of Wicked Lester songs actually went on to become Kiss songs. And so, yes, that band was started in the early 1970s. And like I said, the band consisted of Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, and then later on, Peter Criss, the drummer. And basically, after that, they kind of realized how they had some confidence, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Like when they were playing,
Yeah, and it from all the stories I've read from all of them, they all pretty much from day one had the confidence in themselves of like, no, I'm going to make it. Like I am big shit and I'm going places.
Right.
And it took them a little bit to get there, of course, but I mean, clearly they got there.
Yeah, exactly. And so just a quick rundown, because I don't want to have to get into the entire, history of it, because I do want to get to this first album.
Right.
After Wicked Lester fell through, they started putting ads in newspapers in New York City looking for a guitarist with, as Paul Stanley says, flash and balls, but there's actual evidence and there's an actual picture of the newspaper ad itself, and it actually says flash and ability. It doesn't say flash and balls.
Yep.
Paul Stanley always says it's flash and balls, and it's not. But still, it's I guess you could say a nice little story.
Right.
But so yeah, they were looking for a guitarist with flash and ability. Several auditions were held until Ace Frehley came in with his own amp. He carried that fucking thing up like 3 or 4 flights of stairs,
Yes.
all by himself.
And his mismatched sneakers.
In his mismatched sneakers, as you were talking about the other day. And he jumped in on a demo of the song Deuce, which we'll cover in the first album, and basically played every lick he knew in his repertoire, and they were hooked. They knew that they had the right guy. I think at the audition, they said, like, okay, we'll give you a call, or something like that. Like, he left. I don't know if this is true, but I thought I heard from somewhere, maybe some documentary, that they were like, we'll give you a call or we'll let you know. And then when he left, they were like, yeah, that dude's in the fucking band. They didn't want to give him the satisfaction
Right.
of them being like, holy fuck.
And especially because when he walked in, they were actually auditioning and they had already finished his audition. They were talking to him because they had pretty much said, this is our new lead guitarist, Bob Kulick. Yeah, that's how they met Bob, was because he came and auditioned from that ad in the Village Voice.
Really?
Yeah. And so Ace walks in while they're sitting there talking to Bob after his audition and quote unquote rudely interrupts them because he just starts playing.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, dude, can you chill for a minute? Like, we're trying to talk.
Yes, now I do remember that. Wow. I'm gonna have to let you do the history. I was just doing bullet points, but you're right. Yes, you are very right. Now that I think about it, because they do cover that. I think Ace covers that in No Regrets. Right?
I want to say so, yeah. Which I haven't read that book for a few years now, but
I still need to read it. So.
Yeah. I've got tidbits here and there, but yeah, that book's fantastic.
I'm still in the middle of rereading it.
I'm waiting for him to publish Some Regrets. But
I really hope that becomes a thing.
Me too.
All right. Moving on. So yeah, Ace auditions. He's in the band. They rehearsed an ungodly amount for a band. Like, I understand that bands rehearse a lot, but when you read their biographies and all this or autobiographies and stuff like that, it's just, they all detail how much they actually practiced, and whether it was by themselves in front of a couple people. They were practicing sometimes. I think Ace says like 2 or 3 times a day, which is, I'm not going to say that's not normal, but it was every single day.
Yeah,
and they were
7 days a
playing
week.
live shows too. So that's extra practice. Even if it wasn't in front of a lot of people, that's just practically, practice, you know?
And Ace was with them for about a month before they played a show.
Yeah. And so that's why they were able to capture something like solid performances with their first album and like their demo and everything was because of their insane amount of practice time.
Yeah,
which
they put that work in.
Yeah, they did.
It shows.
The hardest working band I think I've ever seen in my entire life, or read about anything like that. You know? So yeah, and then production and recording for their first album, self-titled Kiss, started in, I believe, early 1973.
I want to say late
1973.
I actually think it came out on January 1st of 74.
Really?
Yeah, I want to say it started the year with a Kiss.
All right, and so yeah, the first album came out in early 74, February 18th to be exact. Like I said, self-titled Kiss, and it was produced by Kenny Kerner and Richie Wise. It was recorded in about 2 to 3 weeks at Bell Sound Studios in New York City. And all material was written before the band got into the studio to record it, which was actually pretty. That was not common back then. Right. Back in the day, what record labels would do was they would fork over a bunch of money so that a band could go into the studio for a couple weeks or a month or whatever, maybe even a couple months, and write songs, produce them, get them mixed and mastered, put them on vinyl, sell it as a record.
Right.
And they had all their material written from the get-go. Went in, they produced a little bit of it, recorded it, got it all finished, and finally released it as Kiss. And so some general talking points about the album is going to be interesting to talk about because I want to hear your guys' opinion on the artwork. And I have it pulled up right here. What are your guys' thoughts on the artwork? I'll go ahead and start with you, Beau.
I mean, I love the black on it. Their makeup is amazing. One of the first people I've seen to actually do it.
Yeah, no kidding.
For real.
And obviously my favorite member is Peter Criss, so I always love his makeup the most. So
right. What do you think of the makeup in this first, or I should say Peter's makeup in this first album, because he's the only one on this first album that technically has different makeup than what we're used to seeing?
Not necessarily, because Ace's is kind of different too. He doesn't have the typical black.
Yeah.
Everybody else pretty much does.
And Ace's does look a little bit bigger than what it normally was if you look at it.
Kind of. The thing that really stands out to me about Ace in the album cover is, of course, the hair.
Yep, the
being
silver hair.
Silver, which I want to say they said they it's not spray paint, but they put like some type of hair paint in it.
Yeah.
And it just looked weird.
Yeah, and it like literally the first time he took a shower, it all rinsed out or something like that, I think it was. So he was like, fuck this, I'm not going to do this every time,
Right.
Which is funny because they put makeup on every fucking
right.
So yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
It's one of my favorite album covers, if I'm being honest, of theirs. It's really, of course, everyone was inspired by the Beatles. Who the hell wasn't?
Right.
But it's very Meet the Beatles-esque. And of course, Beau's favorite member being Peter Criss. He likes how Peter's makeup isn't like that anymore. But it's actually because the woman that they brought in to do the makeup just didn't get what they were aiming for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so it was actually a fuck up. It wasn't.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
I read it in one of their books. I can't remember which one it was. It might have been No Regrets.
Really?
But yeah, apparently the woman that they brought in to help do the makeup, I guess she just did not get at all what they were going for, and so that's why Peter's looks incredibly different.
Yeah, for real. Interesting. My thoughts on this, this is probably in my top 5 Kiss covers or Kiss album covers because I like the all black look because they're establishing right out of the gate. Yeah, we may and not to sound stereotypical, we may have like face paint on that kind of like looks like clown-esque, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I think the black overall shows like we're not fucking around. You know what I mean? We're like, this is going to be hard rock, or, you know, this is going to be a heavy type of music. Gene on here looks fucking amazing, I think, because he, just the way it looks like he's growling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's letting that demon personification really come out of him.
Yeah.
I agree with the whole Ace thing of the silver hair. I actually like the silver hair in this because I think it gives a nice contrast.
I do too. But I think that's one thing that does draw me so heavily to this album cover is just the simplicity of it.
Oh, for sure.
Because you look at some of their later album covers and they have a lot of artwork to it, as opposed to this one is literally just their heads on a black background.
Yeah.
And I mean,
with the light spelling out their name, obviously.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it works. I think it's perfect.
Oh, yeah. I agree. Especially in like, you can see their, like the whole, the leather and the studded necklaces and belts and stuff like that. Like you can see them around Paul, maybe jeans too. You can definitely see it around Peter's neck. Ace has like I guess you could call it like a pendulum or something like that on his, which I never really noticed before, but I think it's really interesting because it kind of plays to their characters of, Paul is just like the star. He's got, like the BDSM like type, collar because he's the ladies' man, you know what I mean? He's like the sex symbol in a sense.
Yeah, got the choker on.
And then the choker. I couldn't remember what it was called. I was like, what the hell? And then you got Peter, who has a collar on too, which is like a choker in a sense, but I think it's kind of interesting because it kind of gives off the whole cat vibe, you know what I mean? And then Gene doesn't really look like he has much on. I don't know what it is, or maybe that's just like
just looks like a chain.
Maybe just chains, yeah. And then, like I said, Ace with the pendulum, which his whole thing is, very like spacey type stuff. The space Ace. So, yeah, that's the album cover. And overall, what would you rate this
as a cover? Or are we doing
as an album cover?
As an album cover, are we doing like scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, 1 to 10. We'll do 1 to 10.
Honestly,
I'd give it an 8.
Yeah, I was gonna say 8 too. I think it's a real good.
It's a solid debut album.
For sure.
Yeah, it's simplistic enough to get across like we're here. This is who we are, and it's not overly like stylized. Mm-hmm. So I really like it. I really do.
Yeah, I'd have to give it. I'll go ahead and give it an 8 too. I don't want to stray too far from it. I was probably going to give it a 7. I do like the simplicity, and I do like the fact that it's all black. But I feel like honestly, I'm gonna retract that statement. This is definitely a solid 8 because one, like I said, it's all black, so it shows you that it's gonna be a heavy album for that time, I guess you could say.
Right.
And I think that really sets the tone for the entire album. Like, yeah, there's upbeats parts of it, but it's a decently heavy album, you know?
Well, one part we never ever talked about was the shading up on top of the heads there.
Yeah,
I've always thought that was weird.
It's like an orangish shade. I don't know.
And like, I don't know. I don't know if it was meant to be going for something.
It looks like it's giving off the things like trying to pop the heads out a little bit. Out from the black,
right? Which
gives like the hair color,
right? Yeah, which would make sense to help their heads kind of stand out a little more against the black background. But other than that, I'm not sure what else it could possibly be, unless they just had something they were going for, and I just never got it.
Right.
But
all right. We'll go ahead and move on to the next section of this episode, and we're gonna get to the track list. And we'll be right back. All right, so the first song that we're going to start with is Strutter, written by Stanley and Gene Simmons. It is the third single off of the album, and pretty solid song to start off with. I think it's pretty simple, or it can be summed up in a couple of words just to say, this is exactly what Kiss is going to be about, you know? Which I know you had an interesting tidbit about the background of the song.
Yeah, apparently the song was written originally as Stanley the Parrot, and it was written before Gene ever met Paul. And it was the song that he played for Paul when they first met.
Yeah.
And so Paul, of course, took the song, rewrote the lyrics, and it is now what it is.
Right, which is pretty solid. I mean,
yeah, a really good summation of what Kiss is and where they're coming from. And they're just going to come out and hit you right in the mouth.
And like, we have our drum expert over here, Beau.
Say the song hits hard and hits fast, and right from that opening drum sequence, you know this is going to be a hard rock anthem.
Hell yeah, I agree. And Ace's solos on this song, phenomenal.
Oh, I love them.
The first one, probably one of the best solos that we've gotten from him, and in my opinion, I should say. But I really do like that first solo from Ace, because he really shows how much is in his arsenal that he can use, you know. He's got some shred parts, some vibrato, some bends, some really long sustained notes that he's really known for and stuff like that. But I think it really goes to show that he's going to be a really big focal point in their music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Ace's solos definitely help define their sound, especially early. I think it's something that, especially as they move on later into their careers and he leaves and into the sort of more glam metal, quote unquote, stuff from the 80s, you know, that they kind of lose a little bit of the soul of. Even though those guitarists are still also very good, it's not the same.
Right. But yeah, I think that kind of sums up Strutter. Just really bombastic, balls to the walls rock music. With the drums, the bass line in there, that walking bass line that we all know and love, and then really just great solos and a really good vocal performance from Paul. You know, this sets the tone for him as well of, yeah, he's going to belt some shit, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's a perfect way to say, hey, we're here, we're not going anywhere.
Exactly. All right, I guess we go ahead and move on to Nothing to Lose by... it's obviously by Kiss, but written by Gene Simmons. This was actually the first single off the album. It's about anal sex, so it's definitely got some
out there lyrics.
Funny and out there lyrics. That's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah,
kind of cringy, but the music more than makes up for it.
Yeah. I mean, Gene, of course, we'll get to some of them later down the line too. He's got some interesting lyrical compositions, to say the least, but you know, they're not bad. They're just kind of,
you just look back on them and you're like, damn, I was, you know, a fucking 8-year-old kid singing this shit.
Yeah.
But I know Beau wants to talk about the drums a little bit and about Peter's vocal performance on this, because this is the first time that we get to hear Peter's vocals. Gene sings the first verse. Peter, the drummer, sings the chorus. And yeah, if you just want to elaborate on that.
Well, I like Gene's vocals on here, but I think Peter's performance on this way better. Mm-hmm. That man has a great voice.
He really steals the show on this one.
Yeah, he definitely really shines through on this song.
I think the soul in his voice really pops out on this, you know, and it
really complements those drums too.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's a fun, groovy song.
It's like a jazz infused rock song.
Yeah.
And also, I think this song has some keys in it, right? I think. Right?
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite aspects of the song is the way they kind of blend the keys in with the chorus, that kind of swingy feel, and especially Peter's kind of more jazz influence. It really works well.
Oh yeah, it really does. And I mean, any song that has keys in it, I love, because I do love, you know, any key instrument, whether it's just piano, an upright, or B3, anything like that, a Leslie. So, a really solid song overall. I do feel like the lyrics kind of take away from it, at least the verses. I love the chorus. It's just like, I feel like he could have probably written it about something else and kept the
yeah,
chorus. You know what I mean?
for sure.
Yeah.
But either way, it's the lyrics to me aren't enough to get in the way of this song. So
Right. No, I definitely agree.
yeah, and like Beau pointed out, the groove of it, the how well Peter's vocals match that energy, that groovy energy of this song really does. It makes it a good song on an already great album full of songs that we're going to get to. The third track on this song, Firehouse, written by Paul Stanley. And I know you were saying, Tyler, earlier that this was written back when he was in high school. He went to a music high school or something in New York City.
Yeah, apparently like high school for music and arts, which I think is super awesome.
Yeah.
But I guess he wrote it while he was still in high school. It's one of the few songs that he carried with him and eventually made it onto a record that he wrote earlier in life.
Right. And Beau pointed out too, when we were talking about this the other day, it kind of, would you say it has that groove, but still has that hard rock feel to it,
It's not like Nothing to Lose and all groove. It still goes hard. Those drums hit,
right?
But it's still got a little bit of that groove.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool because the guitars have that groove too, even though they do have that really hard rock feel to them, or kind of, I guess you could say bluesy feel to them, but the guitar tone on this song, I do like, and it's not too different from the first two, but the guitar tone on this song sounds awesome. They're plugging pretty much straight into Marshalls. They're not using any effect pedals and anything like that. They may have some reverb on the guitars and stuff like that. Who knows if they did that in post,
right,
and ran it through a reverb chamber or something, or if they used maybe guitar pedals that had a little bit of or a reverb guitar pedal. But Beau pointed out the could have ended on this song because the fire breathing and stuff.
Yeah, this used to be the song that they would live. Gene would do the fire breathing on. And so, of course, it's when the sirens are going off. Someone, they bring out the sword. He does the fire.
Right. Really cool spectacle.
Oh, yeah.
And you said...
I said it could have been a perfect song to end with. Him doing the fire breathing, Paul breaking his guitar.
Right.
Bringing out some cannons because, it's a firehouse.
Right.
Shooting off the confetti with the sirens going.
The smoke, too, because the stage gets filled with smoke at this point, obviously lending to the whole firehouse theme, so that's pretty cool. All right, I guess we could go ahead and go to Cold Gin, which is the first song and only song on this album that is written by Ace Frehley. Frehley, whatever you want to call it. I say it wrong. I will always say
every
Frehley,
time.
but it is actually Frehley. And I'll hand this one off to Tyler about the guitar riff because he is probably the main guitar guy here. So what do you think about this guitar riff?
The guitar riff is, I really like the way it enters in on that kind of like the whole step down to the kind of half step bit. And, it's got this interesting kind of tension to it, like what you were saying the other day. And he kind of resolves it, but because it plays through the whole song, it's got this interesting feel to it. I really like how that comes off, especially with the breakdown part in the middle.
Oh, yeah. That was written by Gene, I believe. That's what I read somewhere. I don't know if that's true, but I heard that when Ace wrote this song, he gave it to Gene to sing, and when Gene was going through it and everything, he actually thought that it needed a little bit more, maybe it was something to break up that not monotonous, but that repeating guitar riff. And
okay,
yeah,
interesting.
he decided to go ahead and just kind of make a little song within a song right there.
Right.
And it's not super out of place. It uses a couple of the same chords, but...
Yeah, and I think that part especially works better live where, Gene and Ace kind of come together, have their little, buddy moment.
Yeah.
And then they kind of add a guitar solo in it in the live version.
Right. And the drums in the song are still pretty solid, too. They got a little bit of a groove to them, but they're heavy hitting in this song, and I really like that. It
goes right back almost into the hard rock.
Yeah.
You could tell there's a groove in there, but
right. And I think that's cool because I think that's just Peter and Ace jamming out right there, which obviously they're very close, or at least used to be. Who knows what terms they are on these days, but
yeah.
As far as I've heard, they're on better terms than everybody else is.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know. Still praying for that one last reunion show.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, the vocal performance on this is pretty solid from Gene. To me, Gene is kind of one-dimensional with his vocals on the first couple of albums.
Yeah, he hasn't really like stepped into it yet with the kind of like grit that he adds.
Yeah.
And so like he's still kind of like rounding that out a little bit.
Right. Cool. I guess we can go ahead and go to Let Me Know. This is the 5th track on the album, written by Paul Stanley. Used to be called, or I guess its working title or demo title was called Sunday Driver, because in the very first lyric, or very first verse, first couple lyrics, he says, "Let me be your Sunday driver," which is interesting because we know that Paul used to be a cab driver and he worked at a sandwich shop or something like that.
Yeah, and I think there are even stories of him like after he would knock off his shift for the cab, he would just sleep in the cab because he didn't want to waste any time.
Right. So who knows? Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm like overlooking a lot of their lyrics that have, sexual innuendos, but Sunday driver just to me sounds like, a day of Sunday driving, just out in the fucking city and, working as a cab driver. Who knows? It probably does have a, double entendre, but
probably. I kind of feel like it does because it's I'll take you anywhere you want just as fast as I can.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But what would a Kiss song be without double entendres?
Exactly. And just fun tidbit, apparently this was the song that when they first met, Paul played for Gene.
Yes.
So eventually it's another one kind of like Stanley the Parrot that got morphed and kind of became something else, but made its way still into Kiss tracks.
Right.
I will say about...
go ahead.
About this, Let Me Know. Uh-huh. This song is straight a groove track.
Oh, yeah. It's rock and roll, groovy.
Yeah, it feels kind of like a British sort of rock song,
right. Especially towards the end when it's just it turns into a jam session.
Yeah, we didn't even cover that. The jam the coda at the end, that little jam session, which they actually use in live performances later on the live.
Yeah, and I want to say they move it on to Watching You on a live.
Is it Watching You?
I think so.
I was gonna say it's either Watching You or it's She.
Those are actually the two songs they move it on to.
Really?
So it's one of those two. I want to say it's Watching You on a live, and then later live albums it's She.
Really? Mm-hmm. Interesting. That's pretty cool. And we'll cover that more once we get to a live, which I'm really excited to break down because I do want to go in depth on that one. Let's see here. So that's Let Me Know. Oh, one thing that I did want to point out is the vocal performance on this. You get something from Gene and Paul, which is interesting because I think this is the first time that they each take a verse.
So that's not the first time they harmonize, isn't it?
The first time they harmonized, I believe, was on Firehouse.
Yeah, it's a little bit in Firehouse. I think the harmony here is a little more melodic as opposed to just, I know
in Firehouse they do that, whoo, yeah.
Yeah, which I really like. Yeah. But here at the end, going into that coda, they have that little run where they kind of just hit a couple notes together, and it sounds really cool.
Yeah, like right at the very end, which is really cool. They do harmonize. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a solid song. I know we talked about it before, and we all used to not really care for this song.
Yeah.
And it was a miss. It was like we just didn't. It wasn't forgotten.
One of the songs we thought of when we were listening
almost
to Kiss.
Like a forgotten gem.
Yeah. I mean, for me, easily forgettable. And it literally, as an adult now, looking back at it, it just feels like I walked into Walmart and found a $5 movie or
That's
whatever,
awesome.
in the bin.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, this was awesome. I found a hidden gem.
Exactly. And it's a hidden gem. I don't know why I said a forgotten gem, but it is. It's a hidden gem. Yeah, solid song. Really solid song. I actually really like this one. All right, we'll go ahead and move to. Oops, sorry, I'm getting messed up here. Track number 6, "Kissin' Time," which was the second single off this album. And all right, I think Tyler's just going to go ahead and take this one over for us.
Yeah, I'll just ramble us through this song real quick. I find it interesting that it's the second single off the album because it wasn't on the album. The song was originally recorded 2 months after the album came out because the label wanted a hit single and they just didn't have one yet. Mm-hmm. So they went back and recorded this because it was a hit song in the 50s. I want to say 59. And they just said, oh, it works with your name. Go do it. We want a hit single. We need a hit single to sell the album. And it actually did help kind of boost sales for the album. Not a whole lot. Of course, I mean, their first couple albums didn't really sell well until they really got their foot in the door with Alive. And then after that, but it helped a little, which is interesting. And then, of course, against the band's wishes, it got put back on the repressings of the album.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's unfortunately it's a low point on this album.
Yeah, I think unanimously we all just kind of, it's there, let's move on.
Right. And this was I think you touched on it, I'm not sure. This was not written by any member in Kiss. This was written by Calman and Bernie Lowe. Like you said, it's a cover.
Yeah.
So yeah, just nothing really much to say about this song, honestly. So all right, we'll go ahead and move on to a song that we all pretty much love, Deuce, written by Gene Simmons. And this is the 7th track on the album. A really good pick-me-up, I think. A really good pick-me-up from the letdown of Kissin' Time.
I definitely agree. And it of course, this feels like a song where it should be the show opener because, I mean, they've used it to open a lot of shows over the years. It feels like it's a good pickup into the second half of the album.
Right.
One of my favorite all-time Kiss songs. I've always loved it. I just think it's awesome. I do have the weird thing with the lyrics though, because I was always just under the assumption he's just saying, oh yeah, you're feeling good. Your man's doing a lot for you. Do them twice. Right. That's just how it's always come off. Apparently, Gene has openly said, I don't know what the lyrics are about.
Yeah. I feel like that's a lot of not a lot of these early songs, but there's just sometimes where you're like, what the fuck is and that's the thing, is a lot of people will shit on Kiss for their lyrics and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, the lyrics aren't bad in this one. Not nearly as bad as like Nothing to Lose. I think the lyrics are pretty okay in this one. It's just you don't really know what he's talking about.
Yeah, and apparently he doesn't either.
Yeah. But solid song. Guitar playing on this, phenomenal. Has one of my favorite guitar riffs from Kiss ever.
Yeah, I love Paul's rhythm on this, and Ace's lead and the solos is why it's one of my favorites.
Is there 2 or 3 solos on this? I think it's 2.
Technically 2. It's got a lead fill in between the first and second verse, though, which I actually like the way Tommy does that lead fill on Symphony better than the album version.
Yeah. Oh, when we get to Symphony, and
Jesus,
it's going to be rough to all the hardcore OG Kiss fans for us to talk about Symphony. I'm sorry, guys, but
yeah, but they also have to look at it through the lens of we're younger. We grew up with Symphony because that was fresh when we were young,
exactly. Drumming on this, phenomenal. Driving beat, just, I mean, if you want to elaborate.
Literally just like the earlier tracks.
Yep.
Look at Firehouse, Colgin, it's just like those.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's got a really good like rock drive in it, and it just drives you through the whole song.
It's very like in your face, fast. This is a fast song, and it's really cool.
Right.
But I'd say that's probably it for Deuce. Other than that, I think we can go ahead and move on to the next one. All right, so the next song is Love Theme from Kiss, and this one is the only song to be written or to have the credits go to all 4 members of the band, which was Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Ace Frehley, and Peter Criss. So it's all right. I don't hate it, don't love it. It's a nice little jam track, nice little filler.
Instrumental.
Depending on the day, depends on how I feel about it.
Right.
So I just,
it's got a nice little guitar riff.
Yeah, it's got a fun melody, but it's just kind of there sometimes.
Exactly, it's there. Which it does kind of sadden me that this is the only song that has credits to all 4 members of the band.
Yeah.
But obviously you're not going to get a bunch of songs that's written by every single member of the band.
Exactly.
That's just not going to happen,
Well, the fact that it's supposed to be apparently a bigger body of word called acrobat.
Right.
I kind of want to hear the rest of it.
Right. You said something about acrobat. It's is it taken from acrobat? Is that what it is?
Yeah. When they would play acrobat live in like clubs and stuff, they would play. Love Theme was a part of that. I want to say it was the intro.
Really?
And so they just chopped it off, recorded it, and just put it on the album.
Well, that's cool. I didn't know that. All right. Well, I think that pretty much sums up that song. I mean, like, there's just not really much to talk about.
Yeah.
All right. Next is track number 9, and we get our second song that is written by both Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons. This one is 100,000 Years. So, 100,000 years. I said that a little bit weird, but phenomenal song. I love this song.
Oh,
I really do. It has that bass intro. Which
I love that.
It's
so
like a
much.
galloping bass, I guess you could say. A little bit like bit.
Yeah, it's kind of got that like gallop feel to it.
You know, yeah. It is. I'm not necessarily saying it is a galloping bass line.
I don't think it technically is, but it kind of feels like it.
Yeah.
And that bass line throughout the whole song is just, it's so good.
Oh, yeah. The guitars in this, how choppy they are. If you want to go ahead.
Exactly. And it just sounds like it fits the song perfectly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The way that the bass line is it's kind of staccato-y, you know what I mean?
A little bit.
And so maybe that's what gives it that gallop vibe, because I think it's triplets that he's playing. But the way that the guitars chop with it are really, really cool. And if you want to go in a little bit on the guitar solos by Ace on this, because Jesus Christ,
yeah,
man.
no kidding. If you were ever going to pick a song to make a demonstration of the excellent body of work Ace Frehley's left at this point with Kiss, this has to be in the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
It just, I mean, it's 3.5 minutes long, and it feels like most of it's guitar solo, even though it's not.
Right.
You know, it goes, and it's in your face. It rips.
And the whole song does, really, because the drums they're heavy. There's a drum solo in it.
The only one on this album to have a drum solo.
Yep. And you really get to hear Peter mix his swingy, shuffly jazz style playing with hard rock. I mean, we kind of heard it in Nothing to Lose, but that one was a little more subdued because it's more structured as a song, whereas this song, it sounds like a song, but also a jam session at the same time.
Yeah.
And I really do like you said, the guitar solo in this, because to me, there's like so many calls and responses between Ace's guitar parts. Like he'll do a lot of vibrato stuff and then follow it up with like arpeggiators and stuff like that. Arpeggiators are like arpeggios and stuff like that with his plucking and all that different type of guitar playing. And it's so tight and it's clean.
Isn't the guitar solo mixed in with the drums? Aren't they going kind of back and forth?
I think.
Yeah, actually, that might only be on the live version.
It might be, because I want to say it goes from the guitar solo into the drum solo.
It goes from the guitar solo into the drum solo, and then it goes
He's
into...
got a little bit of like leads over the...
Yeah, there's a little bit of stuff in there, but then I think Paul comes in with his vocals, because the drum solo in this isn't very long.
No.
Now, when we get to the Alive version, it's like a 10-minute song with a 4-minute drum solo in it.
Love that.
And it's phenomenal. And especially in that... Oops, I hit my mic. Especially in that, that's when you get that little bit of playing back and forth between the guitar, the vocals, and the drums, which is awesome, the way they do that.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really good point that you brought up, Beau. Anything else that you guys want to add?
Just because we talked about some of the lyrics being a little goofy.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, Nothing to Lose being, anal. Cold gin apparently being an aphrodisiac. Didn't know that. Don't really drink gin. Don't know why I would. But... This song has a lyric in it that, for whatever reason, has always stuck out to me as being weird, because I'm just about to ooh yeah.
Are you talking about which one?
100,000 Years.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just about to ooh yeah. But damn.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably a euphemism for climaxing.
That's kind of what I figured. But it just. Really?
Yeah,
Of all
yeah.
the ways to say it, I'm a ooh yeah.
I'm a ooh yeah.
Imagine whispering that seductively into someone's ear.
For
I want you to ooh yeah for me.
That's terrifying, honestly. I'm like cringing right now. Yeah, but I mean, even then, I do like the lyrics on this song.
Oh yeah.
You know, sorry to have taken so long. Must have been a bitch while I was gone. Mind if I sit down for a while, reacquaint myself?
Reacquaint yourself with my style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not terrible lyrics, not amazing lyrics, but the way that he sings it,
yeah,
is really nice. He goes for it, and like I said, Paul's vocal performance on this whole album is so good.
Yeah. And I really kind of think this is the natural extension of his vocal performance from Strutter, where it kind of feels like he's, stepping into it a little more.
He has a lot of sustained vocal notes and stuff like that. I mean, I know we covered the drumming a little bit. Was there anything else you wanted to say about that, Beau? No, you think you're good? I was going to say, man, this song, I know I said it before earlier in the episode that Strutter to me encapsulates what Kiss is going to be about on this record. And I feel like 100,000 years, like you said, it extends off of Paul's, vocal performance. But I also think it extends off of Strutter in a whole entire guitar sense, or not guitar sense, but band performance sense, because the bass line in this, killer, just like Strutter. The guitar solos in this, these have some of my favorite guitar solos in it, because of Ace's, like I said, his call and response with himself of vibrato things and the triplet arpeggiator type of stuff that he's doing. At the very end, he kind of does like a slide up the neck, like a slow slide up the neck when he's playing during one of his solos. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. I probably don't sound like I'm making much sense. I wish I could explain it better, but overall, just a phenomenal performance by him. And I think that it really does a lot of justice to the band. Whenever I think you said this one time, if there was a song that I could show people what Kiss is about and like how well they could all do, this is going to be one of my songs that I'm going to like show somebody.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be one of my picks, and I think it should be in the conversation for anybody.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to add, Beau?
I do not.
All right.
Yeah, I think I'm cleared. So
phenomenal song all around. And like we did say, that is written by Stanley and Simmons. And as much as they didn't have songwriting credits together, I wish they would have had more, because I mean, so far 2 for 2 and phenomenal songs on both with Strutter and 100,000 Years. With that being said, we'll just go ahead and go to the last song of this album, Black Diamond. Probably one of the most universally loved Kiss songs from Kiss fans everywhere. Written by Paul Stanley. He does do a vocal performance on this, but only does it in the intro. And I want to go over to Beau to talk a little bit about the vocal performance from his favorite dude, Peter Criss.
Well, first of all, Paul's performance in the beginning, that just nice little soft melody there.
It builds the like mystique of the song.
Yeah, and I think especially being one of the only songs they have that uses a 12-string guitar is super interesting too.
And that opening guitar riff is beautiful. Really beautiful.
It sets I wouldn't say it sets the tone for the song, because I don't think anybody was expecting it to go straight.
That's what I was thinking too. It sets the tone, but it really doesn't set the tone. That's why I was thinking it builds the mystique.
A tone to then shatter.
Yeah, yes, exactly. But if you want to talk about Peter's vocal performance.
And then getting into Peter's vocals, phenomenal on this song.
Oh yeah.
He knocks it out of the park.
Oh, this great
song is this is my favorite Kiss song of all time.
Really?
Hands
Interesting.
down.
I don't think I knew that.
That's awesome, man. It honestly, for a while, it was mine too. And I will say I do like a couple of live versions better than the studio version, but I agree. It's definitely in my top 10.
Yeah, I'd probably have to argue that it's pretty high up there for me too. I know I've got a couple songs on the album I like a little more, but I think artistry, it's probably one of the better ones.
Right.
But
I can agree to that. I want to ask, what do you guys think of this as the ending song to the album? Because in my opinion, this is the perfect song to end an album on.
no, I entirely agree, especially the way they kind of drone it out, which I know not necessarily everyone likes, but
Yeah.
I'm not even saying I'm necessarily crazy about it, but it works.
Right. It does work. It brings it, when you hear it, it sounds like, and I can only imagine back in the day on, record players when somebody was listening to this song on, like on vinyl, when they're listening to it, and all of a sudden it just starts doing that weird droney thing where it sounds like the pitch is slowly going down. It's slowing down. Like, I guarantee you there's probably people who are listening to this thing going, the fuck is happening to my turntable? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on with this vinyl? Like my turntable is probably on fire right now or some shit. And I think it's a really cool way to end the album. I'm glad they don't do that live. I'm glad they speed it up.
Personally, I think if they didn't drone it out as long, maybe
Fair.
It does get a little, honestly, the more that I think about this song, I think it would have been interesting if this was like one of the later albums, or if this song was on one of the later albums when they were having tensions in the group and they were breaking up, and this song was to like end the album that they were all on, like the last album that all 4 original members were on. I've always thought it would be really cool if this song ended that album, because honestly, when I listen to it, it sounds like everything's just falling apart. Like everything is in disarray. Like you don't know what's going on. The sink is shipping. I can't fucking talk. I'm leaving that in. The ship is sinking.
That was fantastic.
The ship is sinking.
No, it'd be interesting. And I mean, of course, as we get through the later albums, we'll talk about like when they actually stopped being all 4 members on the album, and when it sort of got into being replacements, because of course the album covers don't reflect that. Yeah. But it'd be interesting. I wonder how, like, if it had been on the album where Peter had actually left, of course, because he was the first to leave. Right. It'd be interesting. It'd kind of be a weird, like, farewell. Yeah, and like that's what I get. It kind of saddens me when I hear this song on when I don't listen to the live version, because I'm like, man, this is like a really like creepy, like, it just sounds like everything's just going underwater, Right. But I do love this song. I think it's a perfect ending to this already stellar album. Because the song in general has phenomenal energy. The guitar solos in it, amazing. Yeah. They do a really big jam part at the end with that drum fill that goes into that ending part, which I really like, because the drums on that part, that drum fill that goes into the last, like them jamming, it's kind of like, I think it's a halftime jam that they go into. They're so big. Whoever mixed that perfectly, because they added some, like, almost sounds like gated reverb, but I don't think gated reverb was really discovered at that time. I think that was later in the 80s. But it just sounds fucking big, and then you just go into this massive rock ending, and it's awesome. Oh yeah. So I think that pretty much sums it up for Black Diamond. But yeah, and with that being said, I mean, that's the track list. Phenomenal album overall. And here coming up, we're probably going to do just a little bit of a closing summary of our thoughts on this album, and a little bit of maybe a rating that we would give this album. All right. And that'll be coming up next. Awesome. So I think we got the track list out of the way, and next thing I want to do are some high points and low points of this album. Just kind of maybe stuff that you guys think added to the album or took away from the album in a sense. To me, I don't see any low points other than obviously the 2 songs of Kiss in Time and Love Theme from Kiss. And that's nothing against those songs. They just don't hold up as well compared to the rest of the track list. Yeah. And it just, to me, they don't sound very Kiss-like. You can make an argument for Love Theme from Kiss,
but I don't know. Maybe that's just me being biased in a sense because I love this album so much and I just don't
good.
like those.
Right.
Is there any low points or high points for you, Beau?
Actually, a high point is the drums. The drums sound phenomenal on this album.
I agree. I do agree.
Except for towards the end of the Black Diamond, but like that's just because they did that weird distortion thing with it.
Yeah,
But
and like the droney where it slows it all down. What about you, Ty?
Personal low points for me, honestly. Of course, you already mentioned Kiss and Time and Love Theme from Kiss. Some of the mix on Ace's leads is a little weird because I feel like there are some where they don't mesh as well with the production of the rest of the instruments. And honestly, I'm going to say something Beau said earlier. Peter probably should have sang more, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, of course, Gene and Paul do the vast majority of the vocals, but it would have been cool to hear a little more from Peter.
Agreed. I can definitely get behind that statement. I think that's one of the low points is that it doesn't feature as much singing from Peter, and when he does sing, it's I guess on Black Diamond he obviously he does sing the verses.
Yeah, he does Black Diamond.
My
and then
personal favorite song off this album. So
yeah, but I'm pretty sure Black Diamond the vocals are done by like a minute and a half into the song, and it's a 5-minute song.
Right. Yeah. The rest of it is just awesome, balls to the wall, just heavy hitting rock, and especially I think that's like, to me, that's the birth of arena rock. A lot of people call Kiss like the arena rock band where it's like they put on a show in big arenas and they're very, stadium rock, like anthems and stuff like that. But I think that's a high point for me. Just the overall energy of not just Black Diamond, but everything on this album. The energy is insane. And that's what you need for a first album to really showcase like, hey, we're here and we're here to fucking do this. We're here to put on a show, to play bombastic, heavy rock music, and that's one of the high points for me. That being said, with the highs and lows out of the way, what do you think your one discard song could be on this album? And I'll start with Beau. And it's funny because I feel like we're all probably going to go around the same thing. But if just one song you just think you could take off of this album to make it a little bit better overall, to not, bring down the overall album rating.
Yeah, Kiss and Time for me is definitely the weakest part of this album. I think they should have promoted it as like a
separate thing.
Yeah, like a separate single.
Yeah. I definitely agree. Ty, what about you?
Honestly, I'm going to say Love Theme from Kiss.
Really? Okay.
Because don't get me wrong, not a fan of Kiss and Time, but it's just cheesy enough that like if I don't listen to it all the time, I can appreciate it.
Right.
Love Theme from Kiss just does nothing for me.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean,
I could.
It'd be one of those two, but if I had to pick the way I feel today, Love Theme from Kiss.
Love Theme from Kiss. Interesting. I would have to go with Kiss and Time just because I can't get over the cheesiness of the lyrics. Like, they're not terrible, but it just, to me, it's like what you said with Love Theme from Kiss. It just doesn't do anything for me. Love Theme from Kiss, I like instrumentals, so maybe it has a little soft spot in my heart for instrumental work. But other than that, I just, for some reason, Kiss and Time just misses me, man. It just like,
see, I would move Love Theme from Kiss down.
Really?
After Black Diamond, just give it that nice little transition
send off
out
into the, yeah. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, but I think the way Black Diamond ends, especially for the end of an album, kind of like a wrap up, and then more of like for a live show too, I think it's where it should be.
Right. Interesting. All right. And so now I want to get to top 3 songs of this album. I'm going to start with Tyler on this one since we went with Beau last time. What are your top 3 songs off of this album?
My top 3. Man, this is a hard album to pick from, dude. I'm going to say 100,000 Years.
Number 1?
I think so, yeah. I think I'm going to go 100,000 Years, number 1. Then I would say Deuce. that song for me has always had a special place, and the guitar solos on it, I just love it so much. And then third, honestly, that might be the hardest one for me to pick, just because most of the rest of the album's just so good. I guess I'm going Cold Gin though, which sucks that I have to drop Black Diamond, but I really like Cold Gin.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I can't argue with that. That's a pretty solid list. All right, go ahead, Beau.
My number one is definitely Black Diamond. The ending of the song is not enough for it to take away from Peter Criss's vocals. He does phenomenal on that. The drums sound phenomenal. Paul's voice and the beginning is just perfect as a way to start that song.
Right.
Second, I'd have to go Firehouse.
Interesting. Not what I expected you to say.
I would, like I said, it's a perfect song to close out a show, and I would not be disappointed. And then
I do like that. I like that idea. So that was your second?
That was my second.
Okay.
And then I'd have to go with Nothing to Lose.
Wow.
I would have to go with Nothing to Lose. I think it's a fun song.
I was expecting you to put that one a little higher, honestly.
Peter.
Yeah, well, but I like Gene's vocals on it too, and it's just a fun song overall to play.
Yeah.
It is. I can get behind that too, because it's very, you just want to listen to it on a good day, you know?
Right.
Even if the lyrics are a little bit.
Oh, they're so weird, so cheesy, but
man.
Can't.
But no, that's a solid list. I gotta say I do like that list too. See, my top three, I don't know, because all of these songs I like better on Alive, and so I have to judge it by how it is on the album versus my thoughts of it on Alive. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's gonna affect it.
Oh yeah.
I would say my number one song would probably have to be Strutter. I'm not gonna lie. I like the album version of Strutter.
Interesting. Okay.
I like Paul's vocals on it just because it's very, you know, one of his best vocal performances in my opinion. But yeah, Strutter is just, it's my type of happy song. I really like how upbeat it is, and kind of like how you said with, you know, Nothing to Lose. It's just very, it's something that I want to listen to on a good day, and it can put me in a good mood. So I'd say Strutter's number one for me. Two, I'm going to have to go with 100,000 Years, just because the pure energy that you can get from that song is insane. Ace is playing, Gene, they're all on fire right there. And then third, I would definitely go with Deuce. Just because that opening guitar riff, man, it really, it draws you in, and it's one of my favorite guitar riffs to play on guitar. I don't know, that's just, Deuces to me is like another one of those songs. Obviously it's a Kiss song, but it's like a Kiss song. Like, right. You know what I mean? Like when
you hear it and you know it's Kiss.
Yeah, you know it's Kiss, exactly. And that would definitely round out my top three. Would be Strutter, 100,000 Years, and then Deuce. So, all right. And this part is just going to be an overall review of not review of the album, but rating of the album, and out of 10. So out of 10 overall, what do you think that this first album, self-titled Kiss, should deserve? And I'll go with Beau.
Out of 10,
yes,
give it a 9.
9 out of 10.
Yeah, drop Kiss in Time and Love Theme, phenomenal album. Even with them in there, it's not enough to weigh it down.
I respect that.
Actually, I honestly agree. I would give it a 9 too. Partly the reasons you specified, Kiss in Time and Love Theme aren't enough to drag it down. I think it deserves bonus credit for being so well put together for a debut album.
Yeah.
None of it feels amateur, you know, it all feels polished.
Really well put together too.
Yeah. So
you could tell they had been rehearsing a lot too.
Yeah.
I'd have to give it a 9 out of 10 too. I don't want it to seem like we're all just gonna, keep giving.
I mean, we'll get to one soon where we don't agree at all.
Yeah. But that's what I would have to give it is pretty much a 9 out of 10. Like Beau said, put it perfectly. If you drop Kissin' Time and it's nothing against those two songs, but if you drop Kissin' Time and you drop a love theme from Kiss, this is a 10 out of 10 album. And honestly, one of the best debut albums I've ever heard from any band.
Yeah. I don't know that I could pick another one that stands up to it as well. It's so polished. It feels genuine. I mean, it's pure and simply rock.
And that's the thing, though, is I will say, when this album first came out, it didn't sell a bunch. I mean, it sold okay, but it didn't sell like crazy, and because it didn't have a hit single.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of Kiss albums were up until Alive. They didn't sell a lot, but when Alive popped off, that's when everybody was like, "Oh man, this band is awesome!"
Yeah. It was really that foot in the door moment.
Yeah.
And it's weird to think about after listening to this album again that it didn't sell that well.
Right.
I mean, it is just so good.
Yeah, and honestly, production-wise and quality of like recording and mixing-wise, I think it's pretty solid. Like, it's what it is to me with like the whole Kiss argument of, oh, they're not a good band, all this different stuff, is more along the lines of they don't understand it. They can't get past the makeup, the stage theatrics, the big... spectacle of Kiss. Everybody's like, oh, it's just a circus. When you actually strip away all of that and listen to the music, it's not bad music. It's good music. It really is. And that's what I hope people understand, listening to this podcast or just listening to anything, maybe giving Kiss a chance, is that their first album, I feel like it should set the bar for what a good hard rock album should be. You know what I mean?
Especially if you want to have a good debut.
Yeah, debut.
It better land somewhere within a stone throw from this album.
Exactly.
I mean, it's going to be hard to top an album like this.
Exactly. But once people see past the makeup, the theatrics and spectacle of it all, like, then you can really start to have a conversation on the meat and potatoes of what Kiss is.
Right.
And that's what I, like about obviously talking about with you guys, is that we don't just like Kiss because they look cool. We like them because we actually like their music, Right.
And along the lines, you'll see how much we disagree on other albums.
Yes, we like their music and we hate their music.
And it might even start as soon as next week.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much sums up our overall review of the first Kiss album, self-titled Kiss. Is there anything else you guys want to add?
If you haven't listened to them, give them a chance.
An honest chance.
Yeah, an honest chance for sure.
Throw your bias aside. Just listen to them.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think that pretty much does it for this episode. If you guys want to tune in next week, Tyler, if you want to go ahead and tell them what album we're going to be doing.
All righty. Next week, we're actually going to just keep moving right along down Kiss. We're going to move to Hotter Than Hell, which is, of course, their second studio release. And we might have some pretty interesting opinions here.
Oh, yeah.
For next week. So I'm excited to talk about that one.
And yeah, I think that it's not a polarizing album within like the Kiss fan base, except for maybe Beau, but I'm just
right.
kidding. But Beau has indicated that he has some very strong opinions about that album. So it should
Which, I mean, I would also say you and I have a very strong opinion about that album.
Yes.
But just in the opposite end of the spectrum from Beau. So this ought to be interesting.
Oh, yeah. So... all right, I think that pretty much does it for this episode, guys. Thanks for tuning in. This has been a production of The Soundcheck. If you guys want to tune in next week for Classic Kiss, like Tyler said, we're going to be doing Hotter Than Hell, and I think that episode will probably be a little bit better than this one, just because this one we really had a lot of the same opinions. Next week, it starts to get a little bit different. And then from there on out, it's going to be very, very different. So, like I said, thanks for tuning in, guys. From myself, from Tyler, and from Beau, we wish you all a good week, and we'll see you next time.